I'd just like to point out, you guys, I've never forgotten to turn my mic on once. I want that to be excruciatingly clear. If you leave these streams learning anything, most likely learning nothing, but if you learn one thing from any of my streams, it's that I've never forgotten to turn the microphone on. Okay? When you're old and decrepit 40 years from now and you're telling your grandkids about the 37th greatest live stream you ever watched, you tell them about me. And you tell them about how the microphone was always on, the mic was always on, I never fucked up sound check, the scheduling was never fucked up. It was always sick and cool. Okay, those are the things I want us to remember about this family. Akari, what's up? Father is in fact in residence. Brit Bread, thank you for coming by the stream. Hobo8 Jim, thank you for the Prime sub. I appreciate those Bezos bucks for the 5 months in a row. Welcome back to the dog home. Exactly, Mauled never fails us. All I've learned from Mauled is never put bounce lands in, we hate Soul Ring, and bans with other Legends lands are based. You forgot draw more cards. You forgot draw more cards. That is one thing all of you need to do. I think maybe two decks have had enough card draw, and it's been the Crackhead Prowess players. Troper, thank you for the raid, my friend. Were you streaming, or is that your play group coming with you? This is actually the 39th best stream I've ever seen. We'll take top 40. We'll take top 40. Well, my friend, I hope you had a good stream. So I'm going to grab the list of people that are getting roasted tonight. We're going to pop open that their PowerPoint presentation. We're going to get ready to get into it. I know Lalo's already here. Shade, I am doing well. How are you doing? Ruhel, thank you very much for the Twitch follow. Welcome to Doghouse again. Mauled, quick question for you. Which deck should I bring to Commander Night? Jeskai Energy, Azorius Big Value Engine Robots, or Mothman? Well, Akari, I'm going to answer that question by saying I think your Azorius Big Value Engine Robots is going to be Shorakai, which does get your license revoked. I would suggest Mothman. I think unless your table is just universally unable to handle mill being run at them, Mothman is the most reliably fun, efficient, and straightforward deck you're gonna get. You might think Azorius Value Engines are straightforward, but what you're gonna be doing is you're gonna be doing car guy shit at the video game table. We can't be having that. You're going to be talking about carburetors and exhaust fans and NOS boosts. Where they're trying to talk about hitting people, about swords and shit. I literally only run Shorakai because it's a mech and the rest of the deck is full of mech. And yet, you do run Shorakai. And yet, I can't help but notice that once again, I was right as fuck. Can't help but pick up that little clue, Akari, that little breadcrumb trail that you left for us of your malfeasance. I can't help but notice that the Gundam you chose is a fucking police interceptor. Can't help but notice. That's all I'm going to say about it. Hey buddy, been a fan of your vids for a while. I'm new to Magic and thinking about buying my first deck. Do you have any suggestions for Duskmourn commanders? I think any of the Duskmourn precons are going to do you fine. I think the better ones, I would do not the Golgari one, I think the Rakdos one is incredibly strong. The Miracle one is incredibly strong. So any 3 of the 4 Duskmourn precons that are not the Golgari one, which in Golgari is green-black. I would personally put the most weight behind the red-black one. But other than that, you really can't lose unless you play the green-black one, and then you can lose. What's that boot leather taste like? Wouldn't fucking know, Angry asked. What the fuck are you talking about? Who's shatting your Cheerios, bud? Thank you, Akari. The red-black one's also the most expensive. You can look up the lists and print that shit out, and then they're all $10. Valgavoth smacked my nuts last weekend, and it got him a card draw trigger, is the thing. That's what makes him so crazy, is Valgavoth will smack your nuts, and then he will get a card and put a 1/1 counter on himself for it. Yeah, the red-black one is, you play the game, die! What if you perished? Despite saying I have no pathetic cards, the deck has changed since I submitted because I liked the rooms in Duskmourn and added them, so I would now like feedback. Oh, guy who built a cop deck. Oh, gotcha. I don't think it's actually a cop deck, but good jumping on the tangent. What about if I decided to do a legendary creature from Duskmourn? I want to try going to LGS, but I want to be different. Alright, Overlord Rex, let me talk to you for a minute. Just like high school, one of the most compelling urges is the Remy LeBeau urge. I gotta make a name for myself. I gotta be cool. I can't be like one of these other new players walking up with a precon, not understanding how to resolve combo turns, not knowing how to stack like IHOP. And you gotta be okay with the veneer of normalcy for a little bit. My opinion is different if you've played a lot of Magic before and you're talking about, I've played a ton of Commander and now I'm trying to move on into building my own deck. But if you've not played the game for a significant period of time, you are going to have much more enjoyment taking a pre-built deck and just playing it than you are trying to build your own deck. Because I'm going to let you in on a real big secret. Decks aren't that different. You get a little bit of personality that I dig for in these roasts, but for the most part, especially a deck you build when you're a new player, there's a lot less setting yourself apart with the way you build the deck. The way you set yourself apart as a Commander player is the experience of playing against you. People with the same cards will make different mulligan decisions. They will make different targeting decisions. There are so many avenues to differentiate yourself as a player and as a person with the exact same card list as everybody else. I honestly was just thinking about doing like a 5-color Overlord deck. I saw the names and it stuck with me, LOL. I'm here to tell you, hey, God called me up earlier today. He said there's a soldier who's fighting currently his hardest battle to date, which is hearing a soundbite and letting it take over their mind, and I'm sending you to fight for him. That's the call I got at 9:12 a.m. this morning. And Rex, I think it was you. Because I'm here to tell you right now, that's a terrible fucking idea, Rex. That's one of the worst ideas I've heard all day, and I've been talking to myself since 9:13 a.m. There's a world in which You can have this 5-color Overlord deck. You can absolutely have it. That sounds to me like an art project and not a I'm rolling up to the LGS for my first time. And again, this is entirely dependent on how much Commander you've already played. It's a totally fine meme to really steer into. But if you really want to do it, you're gonna do Marina Vendrell because they're all enchantments, and you're just gonna do every enchantment thing from Duskmourn. I would not recommend it. I think it's gonna be a deck that is much more fun to look at than it is to play, but masochism exists. There are people who pay. I have played one game and got my teeth kicked in by some bitch called Atraxa. Okay, let's talk to you about Valgavoth. Forget what I need you to put what I was just saying out of your mind. Let me talk to you about Valgavoth. No, it's not perfect, Overlord Rex. It's not, because it's gonna get you killed by Atraxa again. So if you really want to do the 5-color Overlord deck, I would do the Marina Vendrell deck. I think it's going to be mostly non-functional and is just going to be I think it's going to be a really fun project for you to make it, and I think the experience of playing it is going to be not unlike getting your balls removed by a crazy straw. Hey Mauld, what are your thoughts on a CEDH Persistent Petitioner deck? You're using the word CEDH, and I doubt you know what it means. That's what I think about that. Truly, even if you had some type of Thrumming Stone bullshit going on, I doubt that is a workable strategy. I think short of milling out the entire table at once, plenty of CEDH decks actively want things to be in their graveyard, so you are helping them. Up until the moment that you win the game, you are helping them every single action you take. And at the competitive level, being a fluffer is not typically what wins you tournaments. So I would reconsider. Opinions on calling Jolly Balloon Man Squeaky Jeeky. 10 out of 10. Official Maldhound stamp of approval. Always do it. Never back down, never surrender. Clear eyes, full heart, can't lose. Squeaky Jeeky. That's going to be the raid message when the stream finishes tonight. So without further ado, because I know that Lalo is here, we are going to get into tonight's deck roasting. So for those of you who haven't been here with us before, we get our power levels from silly to spooky to scary, which is more than a little bit similar to WotC's new bracket system. If you can think of silly as 1, 2 and 3 as spooky, and 4 as scary, which is deeply unfortunate. We also get a primer, which is what you think the deck does, and then you tell me what the deck is in one word. Demonic Attorney, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. You said you were going to share Shivam's tears, my lord. Oh, that is true, but I lost the tweet. Dragonox. The last thing we'll talk about is on stream. On stream, Wizards said that in their 1 through 4 tier system, Sol Ring is tier 0, which on a personal level, as a person who plays Commander, I despise that decision. From a system standpoint, from a system building standpoint, that is the only decision they could have made to keep any credibility. because Sol Ring is crazy. But saying this card is crack, however, the government mandates that you smoke it. Now let's talk about this tier list, is the only thing you can do. If you called it 4, every precon ever is a 4. And if you call it 1, nobody believes you. Same goes for 3. Because Dragonox, the cards they have as 3s right now are like 1 mana conditional tutors, like Personal Tutor, and Drannith Magistrate. And so saying Sol Ring is the same level of game warping and unfun, because it's not a true power scale. It is 1 part power, 1 part how annoying is this card, and I think 1 part how expensive is this card. Can you boost the mic volume? Yeah, a little bit. We always get, like, everyone either always complains about the mic either peaking or being too soft. So I'm trying to be very careful about making it too loud, because for many streams and VOD cuts, the mic has just been way too fucking loud the whole time. Sky TV, thank you for the Twitch follow. Have they released where all the cards fall in each bracket? No, and the reason this is a good thing is they also said that tiers 1 and 2 are not going to be comprehensive lists. They are going to be broad brackets with representative, like, signpost combos, and that they're not meant to be a classification system where they give you a deck ID and they go, you're a tier 2, you report to the barracks at 8 a.m. sharp. It's supposed to be, here are some zip codes that you can begin your Rule 0 conversation from, and here are the types of combos we think are in tier 2 in terms of, oh, this combo wins the game, but it needs 4 cards and 15 mana. They didn't say this. This is me throwing out random numbers. But it would be something like, you know, tier 2, you need X cards, and it's going to cost Y mana to win the game. And anything that requires fewer cards or less mana than that is above tier 2. And the tier 3, they said that tier 2's probably going to be, there's probably going to be no infinites in tier 2 or tier 1, which means at least a few precons are tier 3 if they don't change that. Now, the reason this is good is that it helps prevent this from being used as a bludgeon by the pub stompers. Because with pub stompers, with anybody who seeks to abuse a system, the more explicit you make the rules of the system, the easier you make it for them to skirt them. Particularly when it's such a complicated system like Magic the Gathering decks. And so if they had tried to make these comprehensive lists in each tier, we would have been fucked. It would have just been 4 different flavors of CEDH with every random you played in the LGS. But with how they are trying to roll it out, I do think this is a more useful tool for a Rule 0 conversation than 1 through 10. That is the limit of its effectiveness, but it is effective in that specific context. It is no reservations, no cynicism, a better place to start a Rule 0 conversation from than talking about 1 through 10, which is not saying very much. It is not saying very much at all. It is at least something, and it not being a concrete classification system prevents people from going, oh, well, my deck's a tier 1. Why are you mad, loser? I inherently never trust any attempt to categorize power levels in something as complex as MTG. It just never works. I don't think people will be this nuanced about the tiers. I don't either. What I'm saying is the fact that they are not giving people the opportunity to comprehensively define the tiers prevents people from being pedantic dickheads about it. We had this happen in our own Discord with the attempted casual tournament, where when we had a much more robust ban list for casual, there was way more salt, there were way more arguments, there were way more people being pedantic shitlords about, no, it is casual, the list said so. And I think so more than the cards that they're putting in these tiers or any of the representative combos they're putting in these tiers, what I like about it is that they've said we have no hope. We have no hope of doing this in a comprehensive manner. It's not meant to be that. It's EDH, people will be pedantic dickheads no matter what you do. That's not true. That is the people will want to be pedantic dickheads no matter what you do. But if you like, that's like an argument against gun control, which is why I'm pushing back on it. The idea that, oh, people are just going to do it no matter what, regardless of the framework around them or the tools that you give them, is fallacious. It's ridiculous. Out of hand, dismiss that argument. The desire to be a pedantic shitlord is still going to exist no matter what we do, but the whole point, well, not the whole point, but a major point of having a society, having any sort of governing institutions, is to curb and control the frameworks that people operate in to prevent those urges from taking over things. Juror number 8, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the Doghouse, my friend. And so this is absolutely a difference in the tools that people have access to, and giving people access to different tools matters. It will not eliminate the problem, but I'm not talking about eliminating the problem. I'm talking about this being a little bit better, which is a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I thought this was going to be a massive step in the wrong direction. I thought we were going to give people a poorly made tool that really incentivized pub stomping. And I think now we have a tool that ultimately will fail, because trying to compress all the different variables associated with a commander deck into a one-dimensional scale of better, worse, yes, that's always going to fail. You're never going to truly make that work. Mommy Makeout Summer, thank you for the Twitch follow. Excellent name, by the way. Funk Everett and One of a Gub, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the Doghouse. I meant more like they'll be pedantic dickheads in other places, as in being pedantic over deals made in the game. You are correct. And that's the point of the improvement. Those people aren't going to go, like, having dealt with those pedantic dickheads, those people are never going to go, I've got my fill of being shitty and feeling like I've successfully manipulated the people around me. Now I'll be chill about it. They're always going to be very, very frustrating to deal with. I can fix them. Okay, I believe you. You know what? That's my fault. I can't fix them. But you... I won't waste my time. Even better. I agree with you. It makes it easier to control the problem and call out those who continue to try and be shitlords when there aren't hard rules for them to point at and go, oh, but the rules say I'm casual. Exactly. And when they released that one blurb about it and said your deck is going to be the same tier as whatever your best card is, and we're going to rank all the cards, I was horrified. I thought, oh God, we are enabling, we are accelerating every most annoying guy you've ever played with at an LGS, because we're going to give them the tools with which to say, it's a 1, so if you lost to it, maybe you're just bad. There's still going to be a ton of 1s that are absolutely inappropriate for a given table. It's going to be things like, you know, Feather, Omnath Locus of Mana, things that will just eat apart a table that is not prepared with interaction. And that's what we still need Rule 0 for, and that's where the pedantic shitheads are still going to be difficult to deal with. But I think having these more clearly defined zip codes as a jumping off point, so much better than having nothing as a jumping off point. Grumpy Dragoon, thank you for the tier 1 Twitch sub. Welcome back to the dog home for the 3rd month in a row. What about Annihilator? Is that a 2? We have no idea. They've released almost no cards in each tier. They've released maybe I think 2 cards per tier. So we know very little. They want to have a first version of the system in place by Vegas, which I will be at. But other than that, we just gotta wait. Deloom42, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to Doghouse, my friend. And the Mason So, thank you for the Twitch follow as well. Welcome to the Doghouse. Hey Mauled, what would you say each of the current deck categories falls into for tiers? So So let's talk about how WotC stole from me. So if we take the 3 tiers that we have right now, and we have Silly at the bottom, which is what I say is, well, my friend Danny, who we stole this from, because the world is just one big plagiaristic merry-go-round. So we have Silly, Spooky to Scary in terms of how ominous your turns are. WotC's scale, Spooky is going to translate to tier 2, 3, which is the needs context. The deck isn't always the deck is probably pretty good, but it's not always good. We need to investigate what your card interactions are. We need to further investigate how consistent you are. You might have tutors, but we need to know what you're tutoring for. Scary is what translates to their tier 4. Scary is all of the good cards you put in this deck. You know what you did. You put this in for a reason. You knew what that reason was. These are cards like Rhystic Study. These are cards like when they were still around, Mana Crypt, Jeweled Lotus, etc. Cards that were inarguably very, very strong. And there's a number of people who will make silly decks and will argue that they need tier 4 cards to make the silly deck work. And those people are either liars or crack smokers who probably shouldn't have made the silly deck in the first place. And then silly is tier 1. Tier 1, which is meant to be the universally nobody's gonna point at any of the cards in this deck and say, oh, you're really trying hard. You're really trying hard. Hey Maul, is this the new roast outline? No, I'm talking about how the silly, spooky, scary system we've been using for ranking decks, it translates to WotC's new tier system. Shubla, I think they are trying to, well, Gavin said that they were going to look at the tier system. They were going to look at the tier system that gets used in Arena and take some inspiration for that, but they didn't say they were going to perfectly replicate it. Lelo, we can jump in right now. Let's run your deck right now. Let's not waste any more time. Zedru the Quest Giver. This is my first group hug deck, and I think you'd call it a Kingmaker kind of deck. It's meant to evoke being a DM, handing out quests and rewarding people for completing quests and punishing those who stand against them. This deck has no intention of winning or even really playing Magic for its own sake. It purely wants to affect how things are going for other players and make them jump through silly hoops. Because I restrained myself to a narrow gimmick, I don't think it can be changed or improved, but it's fun to share, trying to decide if I should build it in real life. Now, originally, there were no pathetic cards in this deck. Everything was great. But they've said that they put the rooms from Duskmourn in, and because those are bad, they now want assistance. So this is Zedru, who gives shit away, and then you get to draw cards and gain life. I do see we have a ton of tags. So quest giving, these are the other things that give things away. Make a saving throw. These are our... Okay, these look like our interaction, and oh fucking boy, do we have some interaction. We have tap stuff for 1 turn. Tap stuff. Bounce. Quest financing. So these are lands. It says we have 34 lands, and then says we have 38 here. Oh, it's all adventures. Okay. Quest location, then we have rooms. All adventures, huh? All adventures. Okay, and then we have a million rooms that have a little bit more interaction. And these are also very useful permanents you can give away. Whenever you attack, if the number of attacking creatures is greater than number of quest counters on ED, put a quest counter on it. Then this is rewards. So as a reward, I'm going to give people a 6 mana 6/6 with Ward 2. Or a 4/4 that no longer has its ETB trigger. Moira Brown's not the worst. Making other people work with quest counters is a little bit interesting. Alright, your quest is... We're casting artifacts from our graveyards. Leela Lane Child, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the Doghouse. Put a quest counter. Do things for a quest counter. You gain advantage. So this is interaction, but it helps other people. +2/+1 until end of turn. Gain flying until end of turn. +2/+0 until end of turn. Okay. And then roll perception. I assume these are your other pieces of interaction. Tap creatures, deal 2, bounce something, destroy 1 creature. 3. Okay, so I think the flavor is great. I think your very narrow definition of the flavor has committed this deck to being completely non-functional. What you have here is a compressed disc of seasoning. And the seasoning is good, but it is just seasoning. And what I would suggest should change about this deck is not just here are better cards to make it better, but I think that you can... I think that the experience of playing with a DM goes far beyond the strict definition of this person plays cards with the adventure tag stuck on it. I think that is likely the most narrow definition you could write for it, because if we think about it, the job of a DM is to give out the adventures, but it's also to let people role play. It's also to be a nonstop piñata of magical items. It's to level people up. I think there's a ton of room to include things, particularly as the rewards. I think there's a ton of room to include things that still remain true to the soul of I'm trying to capture the experience of being a DM. And this, it all has to have the word, like, it all has to have the word adventure on it. It seems like really deep in the tank for not particularly big benefits. If you have a play group that does like it, then that's great, and that's the only important thing in the world. But right, so who gives a fuck about what I'm saying past that? But in the context of, let's give any feedback about this, well, first you got to cut the cheater card. The DM flavor was more a vehicle for me to make a quest counter deck work in a way that felt fun / thematic. Okay, so it's not about it's not about evoking being a DM handing out quests. This is the second life of my quest counter deck that got that was giga dog shit. And that's a different perspective that we can still work with, but it is a different perspective. Sure, we'll be paying life, right? Because we get this out, and this was the most fun way I could find to make quest counters work, make other people compete the quests for fun. Then let me try to sell it to you this way. I think making other people, if it's about the quests, then even more so, this very strict framing of everything has to say the word adventure on it is unnecessary for both flavor and for function. This is 100% a DM themed deck. It is a player's handbook pre-prepared level 3 adventure deck, and I'm simply trying to convince you to put a little homebrew on that shit. If it's about make other people complete the quests, at the playgroup that was down to go along with it, that is awesome. I think in your average playgroup, the reward being you get a 4/3 is so far outside the realm of legitimately participating in the game that it's just not a great quest reward. I've seen these types of quests in World of Warcraft. I pass those and I run the dungeon again. If I'm the Sephiroth deck and I get offered a fetch quest to go get me a Bone Crusher Giant, I'm just gonna reanimate Valgavoth about it. And so really what I'm saying is there are enchantments, there are artifacts that allow this deck to operate at more levels of power than people have to go along with this on purpose. And right now, this seems like people have to go along with this on purpose because we're not there's so much D&D flavor that we can put in. There's Dungeons, which we just talked about, that I see chat is seizing upon. There's giving out magical items. I've looked for I've had quests like this in my D&D party. And so if the fixation is truly on, I want to make a quest counter work. I want to give people quest permanence and give them a quest to get going. The way the game worked out, the actual cards I gave people were doing enough work and giving them enough benefit that they were actively trying to keep me alive, so they didn't lose the cards and go down to each other. That was because they were gifted things like the virtues. So I would like to examine the contention where I said I think many of these cards aren't good enough to be worth participating in the quests for, and you said, okay, yeah, because like the virtues, this makes sense. If you say you're gonna gift me a virtue of loyalty, of knowledge, of whatever, there's even some stuff like, you know, a 7/7 with vigilance is still a big body. If the Izzet player needs a blocker, this works. So I don't think everything needs to go, but I think you do have just like, you know, anything from Baldur's Gate would almost work. You could get, so you got dungeons you can get in here, you can get initiatives in here, you can get any number of legendary artifacts in here and call them magical items. And I think you can, yeah, if we're focused on quests, part of being a DM is carrot and stick. And I think the stick could use help too, but I think the stick is where, if we wanted to make your stick good, if we wanted to give you a nice big stick to point at everybody, that's where we're gonna have to break on flavor. But the carrots, we have so many flavorful carrots that we can shove down people's throats. And if they don't like their vegetables, we have giant swords we can give them. We have initiative cards we can give them. We have, yeah, the virtues. I think the virtues are the best gifts that you currently have. Potentially dragons. I'm even gonna say the Rocks Fall. That's all right. That's my favorite tag. Rocks Fall is my favorite tag. I would even say the biggest reach you can make, but a thing that has been true to the experience of D&D, is the DMPC. Is the Dungeon Master just giving you a dude, which is kind of what you've accomplished with your quest is. But if you have big legendaries that you think are like good references for your playgroup, you can give those away as just they join your adventuring party. So I think you can get really, really creative. I think you did a good job restraining yourself and making sure that you silenced the temptation of taking anything like Rhystic Study, like Smothering Tithe, like any of the hyper generic ones. So big ups to you for that. I think past that, we very narrowly defined this as super on rails adventure, and I do think there's room for it to become sandboxy while still feeling very much to be a D&D deck, to be a deck where you're the DM, people have to listen to you, give you a little kiss on the cheek so that you can give them stuff. And I do like the inclusions of the rooms as quest locations. I'm not convinced you need 15 of them, but I think that the rebalancing can't come until you get to the point of, okay, what's the other stuff that we're going to bring in here to shore up the list. The main reason for sticking to adventures other than theme was to let me have spells and permanents in the same deck slots, even if they became way weaker. That is a fair point. You're giving away a lot of your permanents, and so it makes sense to value utility. I would, I think we leaned into that a little bit too hard. I think you need to have, since it was successful once, I think you should lean in a little bit more to your ability as a gaslighter. As a DM, you practice weekly, monthly, whatever the frequency is, on lying to people and subjecting them to mind control. So believe in the you that believes in the me that believes in your ability to mind control these people into not murdering you. Oh, that's not a suggestion you should give me. I'm too good at it. But that's what worked, right? If you said the virtues were some of the cards that kept people in the game and kept people from killing you so they didn't lose them, that's how you should be pitting people against each other and not going down on your own card advantage. So yeah, overall I like it. I do think it is just one super tight disc of paprika and seasoning salt, and I think that we can expand it to include a little bit more robustness and spread that flavor out and not lose the flavor, but give it a basis upon which to really cook. So I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed looking at it, and I would play along with it myself, right? A lot of this, I'm still a no win con hater. That is, I would be sticking to those guns outside the context of this is for a dedicated play group that is okay with them flicking the bean in the corner for the duration of the game. I think if the play group has opted into, yeah, we're going to have one person who's just being an op the entire time and is not trying super hard to win. So thank you, Lalo. I hope you enjoyed the roasting / rebuilding, and I'm excited to see what this deck becomes. Good luck with it. Next, we're gonna have the 4 best games deck, which is a spooky deck. The gimmick of this deck is just how fucking white it is. Okay. The deck in one word is gentrification. So let's see what we've got. Also, Valsian, thank you for the Twitch follow. A Raging Phantom, Oryx's Left Kidney, thank you all for the Twitch follows. Welcome to the Doghouse. And Dakon426, thank you for the Prime sub. I appreciate those Bezos bucks. Welcome to the dog home, my friend. How do I submit a deck to be reviewed? It's a Patreon redeem. We have a limited number of slots per month. This month's slots are going to open up on Friday. There's going to be a Patreon announcement today talking about that. Welcome to the deck, so aggressively white it calls the cops on a family barbecue, is the owner of multiple HOAs and thinks cheese is spicy. We're here to gain life and then let our opponents hit us. The more they swing out, the more we swing out. And every time we swing out, we heal like I'm playing Darius and our creatures get bigger. Just please don't run any alternate win cons. Part of the Rainbow deck series. All right, mono white, aggressively white. Whole point of the deck, how white it is. Black lady in charge. That's how it should be. That's how it should be. Anti-interaction. That's very white. That's very good. I'm assuming this is the HOA part. So we've got a lot of protection. Reconnaissance, always hot. Whenever you're swinging out, this is always a hot card to pick up. This is so fucking stupid. They did this like for a commander set too. They were like, yeah, if this is in your opening hand, people should have a 6/6 indestructible lifelinker. Teferi's Pro, you a bitch, and I will never forgive you. I'm with the rest of this. Bounce lands or peak. Okay. Straight to the playtest. Straight to the playtest with your bounce lands or peak head ass. Oh look, I cast this because I have nothing else to do, and I think bounce lands are good. So that's my understanding of tactics. Oh, I could have cast my commander. Okay, okay. We would have cast the commander. And then we would have cast, let's see. I think probably Archaeomancers. Oh, no, because we don't have the facilities for that. So we'll get a 2/2 Pridemate. Pop it on that boy. Gain 2 life. Pop it on that boy. We would have done that first. Pop it on that boy. Swing, gain 2. Oh boy, so we be pillow forting. We be forting up these pillows. Alright, I got you. Search for Glory. So we have 2 tutors in the deck. Although they're conditional and expensive. Chris, Mike, Matt, Chris, Matt, Scully, who's fucking crazy, and Mahat are all extremely funny tokens. So we have, I assume, 18 guys that make more guys, which is reasonable for the gimmick of the deck, even if I do hate the gimmick of the deck. Oh, hold on. Break glass in case of Simic. So this is all of our... Well, this is an interaction, but it's removal, 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 removal. No idea. Removal, removal. So this is really the... this is the interracial marriage react section. I think that's on theme with a deck that's just about being white. I think that you backed away a little bit in terms of the tag game. Read a Johnny's alt. Planeswalkers don't have alts, so I won't. Monocolor makes this funny. Oh god, yeah. Look what they need for a fraction of our power. Green. So this is, I mean, land tax and Archaeomancers are at least decent ramp for you. Deep Gnome is something else you would likely want, but it depends on your curve. That's a responsible curve. We're not even going above 5. We got small dreams. The HOA budget is not large. We have some small fucking dreams on this mana curve. Top 10 Tarkier cards. Oh my god, it's a fucking bounce land. Yeah, Ocelot Pride is super fucked up. Ugh, okay, more life gain synergies. More life gain synergies. Please ignore the small doping scandals. Yeah, so this is the +1/+1 counter synergies. Look what they need for a fraction of our power. Blue, probably. So I'm hoping that this is your card draw section. And I'm immediately disappointed. We have conditional, conditional. This one works, except it's giving stuff to other people, which is not very white of you. Also conditional. So I realize I disrespect and don't admire that you're playing the very easiest strategy in the entire game, and therefore you think that you don't need to draw cards, or you think that this is a legitimate card draw section. But I would like to draw your attention to the phenomenon. You have 2 cards in your deck that say draw cards. These 3 say, oh boy, I hope this shit is working out. So not only are you starting at 5% of the deck has the potential to draw you cards in a strategy that is so board wipeable, I almost wouldn't be mad at the farewell player. But within that 5%, over half of your card draw is not card draw. It's mostly you going, damn, I hope this shit going well. It is an easy condition. It is still a condition. War Room gets you to 3, so it's at least half and half. But it's very much in the... So I'm not saying cut the conditional stuff. You should always have some conditional card draw that can allow you to capitalize while you're ahead so that you can translate your advantage into actually winning a game. But you need more unconditional card draw for the bad times. It can't be all lollipops and heroin. Sometimes you have to put a shift on at the DMV. You need to get behind the Taco Bell counter and earn some goddamn funds to raise this army in the first place. And so you do have everywhere else pretty responsibly built, but I would be amazed if the deck didn't function better taking 1 card out of anti-interaction, 1 card out of doping scandal, and 1 or 2 cards out of Chris, Mike, Matt, Chris, Matt, Scully, who's fucking crazy, and Matt, and putting in unconditional card draw. You have so many life gain synergies. Let's talk about the best part of Commander, which is... God, this is my favorite game ever. It's not Commander, it's the sub-game of Commander. Shitty, terrible, no good, bad, absolutely awful, smash myself in the dick and take off a toenail cards that become playable because of my strategy. Revitalize. You have a ton of life gain synergies in the deck, and you need cards. Look at that shit, buddy. I am not joking when I say I legitimately think this is playable in your deck. If you're doing, especially if you have 18 cards that can make tokens. Oh, Evangelize, also a flavor win. Never mind. Don't. Flavor win, loss everywhere else. Stormherd could also be very good for you. So because this is... I think this is a very good bit. Saying this is the whitest deck ever is a very good bit when it is, in fact, Baby's first life gain +1/+1 counter deck. The normal suite of card draw that you need for I'm making tokens is Idol of Oblivion, there's Benny Brax, there's Tokasia's Welcome. Another one-off card, which I think works very well because it is someone who helped commit genocide in the name of cultural appropriation. I can't remember the... Can't remember the name for it, but we'll find it. Where is this bitch? It's some like 2-mana white card that's a vampire duelist, and whenever you put a +1/+1 counter on it for the first time each turn, it draws a card. Let's look at Caretaker's Talent in the time being. I think Caretaker's Talent would be really good for you. Dire Fleet Duelist. Yes. Oh, not. Alright, well. Alright, you guys lied to me. Dusk Legion. I think it's 13. I think this deck's eventual win condition is to put 1/1 counters onto its creatures with regard to its life gain. Now I think this is still conditional, which is still problematic for you, and so you still need... Oh, is this making tokens actually? Well, there's 18 things labeled under tokens. So makes tokens, conditionally but makes them, conditional but makes them, conditional but makes them, makes them, conditional but makes them, makes them, conditional but makes them, makes them. Yeah, so they for sure make tokens. They for sure put out a well-edited US Army ad comparing the horrors of trench warfare to an Overwatch game and convince Chris, Mike, Matt, Chris, Matt, Scully, and Matt to sign up for the Iraq invasion. And we do need to capitalize on that a little bit better. Endless Atlas isn't the worst in monocolor. Oh, and this would even be good for the whitest deck ever because it's just 17th century British Empire. You're just looking for that next nation of slightly less white people to inflict unstoppable terrors upon. Here, I'm turning the mic volume up a little bit for our people on YouTube who can't hear me. What's up, Warnstride? The win con is the commander triggers a separate instance of life gain for each creature that swings, which is 10 life gain triggers for my guys that get bigger for each creature. Yeah, for sure. I do think you... If I was to concisely frame the closest thing this deck has to a problem, other than the mental state of the person that made it, it is that everything is very conditional. You have a machine that can be very, very well oiled, but due to the nature of Commander... Oh, the theme is MTG white, not real person white. You... Okay. No. I will accept that the gameplay pattern is meant to be MTG white. Your primer says, calls the cops on a family barbecue. You knew what you were doing. This deck thinks cheese is spicy. So for the gameplay pattern itself, yes, this is a very mono-white gameplay pattern. I think what it could benefit from across the board is one or two more things that do not need the game plan to be going well to pay off. What you have right now is a deck that I think pays off very, very well when the game plan's working. And you also expose yourself greatly to catastrophe should the game plan not work. Like right here, this is a great engine. This is... Well, okay. Maybe looking at so many Moxfield decks has butchered my understanding of the word great, but this is a useful engine for you. These two are going to work together. When you play your commander next turn, it's going to continue working for you. When you get this in, it helps you. When you get the staff in, it helps you. If any of these guys get shot in the chest early, particularly by cheap removal, you start to have problems very quickly. And I think these problems will present themselves more when you're trying to close out games and people are throwing around crazy, crazy words like damn. Maybe you have your protection, maybe you don't. What I'm getting to is if we're trying to play the whitest kids you know, we should have Crackerhoof. Both for being incredibly white, bro is 3-pipped up, but also for this is a very mechanically white card. So this satisfies exactly what the deck wants to do, and it gives the deck a way to get through in otherwise very difficult odds when you might not be able to maybe you don't have 10 life gain triggers that'll turn your board into an immediately lethal state that makes you win the game. This guy can take four creatures, turn them into an effective fighting force, get you damage, and get you a free swing. Also, 33 Elk, thank you for the raid, my friend. I hope your stream went well. B702, Pathos Arcana, and Lolgert, thank you very much for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. I'm trying to think of what else we could do, but when I talk about this is the other side of the coin where I'm recommending Revitalize. I think building a lot of synergies that work together is really, really good, but what you don't want is a codependent relationship. You want your deck to have good teamwork, but you do not want it to collapse into a pile of piss and tears as soon as it's not holding hands with the other half of your deck, which is not definitively what happens here, but it is a risk when you build a deck that is one half of this deck gains life and one half of this deck benefits from life gain. That sounds really good, but what it also means is you are really one piece of important interaction away from half of your deck being fucking gone. I know because I have this deck in Arena Standard where people are assholes. And when you play it into the assholes, you learn very quickly that as soon as somebody really has your number, it can fall apart really quickly. And so you want stuff that doesn't care whether or not stuff is working. And so I think Revitalize, I think taking the universal healthcare we need, I like that. Maybe taking some of the bigger conditional reaches and replacing it with non-conditional versions of anything, gonna pay off huge for you. Nino Wolf, thank you for gifting a tier 1 sub to T-Dim. Welcome to Dog Heaven, my friend. SM Billy, the deck submissions are done via Patreon. We accept a limited number each month, so it may not be possible for you to get in this month. But the announcements for it are going to go up this Friday. We're going to keep it moving on to, I believe it's Beely V next. So let's do roll call really quickly. Let's do roll call. MLP, you're here. Are you being roasted today? I don't see. Are you fucking all right. I see your game. Hey, respect. You're switching it up. You're switching it up off the spider stuff. That's my fault. CG Death, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to Doghouse, my friend. Okay. And we are slotting Jam Goody into here. I just can't get the formatting right on the copy pasting I did. So we're looking for Beely V We're looking for a Hobo 8 gym, but Shadow Walker, you're here. Dragoon, you're here. Demigod Peanut, you're here. Hobo 8 Jim, you're here. So we may move on to you if BLeV hasn't checked in yet, to give them a little bit more time. And then we'll see where we're at after we do you. After we do you, so maybe I have time for you and another person after you, and then we can do Goody, and then maybe BLeV will be here. Mighty Roosh, hey Mald, if I wanted to submit an updated deck from a previous roast several months ago for this month's roast, is that good, or would you rather all new stuff? I would love to see updated lists. I think it's great for both seeing if the roasts do have a value add. It's great for supercuts. So yeah, for sure. Go ahead and submit stuff you submitted before. Okay, so with the current roll call, we're going to move on to a Hobo 8 Gyms deck, which is silly. This goal is to fill the table with so many tokens you'll question your own sanity as you search through the secondary deck you have to haul around you. Okay. DEI tokens. You are on the razor's edge. You trying to use that term in a funny way. I'm going to walk with you for a moment, but just for a moment. 156 unique tokens needed. 125 creature tokens. 11 artifact enchantment. 20 game tracking. If you do not have an Infinitoken sponsorship, you need one. We're on Garth One Eye. That makes sense. So off the bat, with the primer of this deck, you've impressed me from a research standpoint. I respect your ability to scryfall things, no matter what happens from this point out. What I am deeply hoping for is that this deck functions at all. If this deck can function at all, nothing but claps. But right now, this seems like a psychology experiment gone wrong. It's a solid 3 on both scales. Okay, so we have things categorized by what they can make for us. Super token. All right, maybe Merit Lage can bring it home. I see we do have Day Night. I was gonna say, if anybody ever gives me shit about Day Night ever again, I'm pulling this deck out on them. Day Night is nothing to track. Day Night is not a goddamn thing at all to track, and anytime anybody complains about it, I'm pulling out the Rite of Belzenok. Let's see if you reach functionality at all. What's in this opening hand? World Tree could save us. Reef Worm could save us. Okay, Planar Nexus. We still can't... It's turn 3 and we still can't cast anything, but that's the average... Oh my god, we have Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Known standard monster, Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Jesus Christ. Hold on. Just scrolling. Is OBS catching? Okay, we are. We are catching the experience of me scrolling through. How do I even playtest this, you piece of shit? You are a monster. I was worried that we were going to lose part of the experience of having to play this deck by not having all the physical tokens to handle. And I'm stumped. What do I need? It's a 2/2 Goblin Shaman. Where are you? Okay. We may continue playing. Can't call his deck shit if you can't play test it. Yes, I can! And I will. So we Reflecting Pool. We Reef Worm. We swing to go back in to the expanding hut of tokens. I need a treasure now. I own all the tokens, by the way. No infinite tokens. Great Hall of Starnheim. This is the type of deck you play for people who watch those 4-hour YouTube info dump deep dives. This is a Rhystic Studies video in the deck. You have more unique tokens that you can create than you have cards in the deck. There was, 156 different tokens this deck can make for 99 cards in the deck. This is the type of deck you play for somebody who has trouble sleeping so that they can get to bed on time. I mean, we play Garth just to make stuff. Just to make stuff. We're going to copy our tokens. We'll play Dwarven Mine. So now our mana's officially fixed because we have 6 lands with the World Tree. And we can Clay-Fired Bricks and get a Plains card. Oh god, I have forgotten about the Saga. I don't think I would have gotten rid of Mitotic Slime or the Planeswalker. Oh lord. Imagine accidentally shuffling the token deck instead of your actual deck. Of course we have fucking Replicating Ring. And then we get... Yeah, Garruk, new token, 2/2 black-green wolf. I guessed right. Okay. I guessed right. This is the type of deck they play to train FBI agents, and they will spontaneously turn the lights off and ask them what the board state is. This is how you train CIA operators to have an eidetic memory, is you play this commander deck against them, and every once in a while, you just go, bam! How many tokens on the field? What tokens? Tell me. How many different types of mana generating tokens does this deck currently have in play? It's a weird board, but not bad. See, mate, you're lying, is the thing about what you just said. I think turn 8 in a commander game, I mean, we are at a solid 0.2 on the 1 through 4 power scale. I love it because it's so it's so fucked up and silly. The best interaction we can do on a repeatable basis is copy Reefworm and keep making these 3/3s into 6/6s into 9/9s. If we don't have Reefworm, we are not doing anything, I don't think. Like, without Reefworm, we're maybe trying to slowly uptick Garruk, which could be good, but this is probably the only thing people are using removal on. You play this deck with your twin that either only tells lies or truths. Yeah, the board... The commander pod that this deck gets played in is this player, one person who only lies, playing a Rakdos deck, one person who only tells the truth, playing an Azorius control deck, and then one person who's playing a malicious genie, who is playing like John Arenicus or something. If you copy One Eye, you can use his ability to do any of the spells. If only any of them were good. Maybe the best thing we could... I mean, we could get Shivan Dragons. I think this is... Having played with some precons just a few days ago, I really love this deck, and I know for a fact it cannot stand up to precons. That's what we'll say about how strong it is. As a project, we gotta give it up for my man Ahobo 8 Jim. We gotta give it up. This is evil. This is both evil, it's a useful FBI training tool, which makes it evil. It is objectively hilarious to not be able to fit your tokens in a standard deck box. What's most important about art? It makes you feel something. Not it can be played with your friends. Not your friends would ever want to see it a second time. Not your mom still talks to you. But that art made you feel something. And this made me feel, oh! And that counts. That counts for something. So you wear that with pride, Ahobo 8 Jim. Good fucking job. Ryan from chat, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. We're going to move on to if Panzer Ninja is here, we will do you. If Panzer Ninja is not here, we're going to do Grumpy Dragoon, and then we're going to do JM Goody. Falones, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. Maldhound, thank you for the pump and dump scheme I came up with. What the hell are we talking about? Oh, Nino Wolf. Yeah. Support Infinite tokens. Cat, it is, I'm in the Pacific time zone. Fun Sponge 1, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the dog. It's the rest of the deck. Wait, what's the rest of the deck? Hold on, that's my fault. That's my fault. Oh my god, we have dungeons. Oath of Eorl. The only extra turn spell I'm going to give a pass. This is the only tier 1 extra turn spell in Magic the Gathering. Everything else tier 4. Fokano, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. I mean, truly, if you do not already, you need to have a YouTube channel where you just make 4-hour deep dives. I'm telling you, people would watch this shit. Can we do anything? What are good substitutes for Savannah, Scrubland, Bayou? Don't want to break the bank for 3 cards. You know, Wolf, I'd print them. If you can't print them, I would Google budget mana bases. I don't remember the exact prices for things, and so if you're worried about, I want to buy the real lands and I don't want to spend a lot of money for them, I don't know offhand what the good cheap ones are. I do know that there are serviceable cheap ones. Oh, we're going to transform this shit immediately. We got a token max, bro. We can't do the fucking Hydra yet. We can't get Boo out here. Get an island. I mean, I guess we get Garth and we Black Lotus out, Polukranos Unbound, and then we fight it with Golden Guardian to flip the Guardian. Oh, and we get a land. Oh, but that's a good land. And we keep buffing this. So you actually have a couple one-off cards in here that do really, really work, because a couple tokens are really fucking strong. So if you get to Minsc and Boo, I believe in the deck again. If you get to that one Reef Worm, Fable of the Mirror Breaker interaction, I believe in you again. I do think it's on the softer side still. Just, it's turn 8, and the best thing we have is a 10-10 with Trample, which is not horrible. But it's far from... It's supposed to be jank. It's definitely jank, and it's beautiful jank. Oh yeah, I would. A legitimate... Jordan makes the case for a legitimate upgrade that does not break flavor, Overlord of the Hauntwoods, because it has a different type of land token, but it will mana fix you. Which, like, that's mattered in the playtest we're doing. And so, you know, you have 20 things that are competing at the 1 token slot. I think that, I think Overlord of the Hauntwoods could have some hands against other things in the 1 token slot. Drake King, thank you for hopping into the stream, my friend. I appreciate you coming by. Anything that makes just 1 token is a hard cut. Any Rex. Okay. I'm not a dirty goddamn token player, so it's a little bit difficult. You broke my computer trying to make me Scryfall tokens. I'm gonna try and make... Oh, Rex on what to cut. Okay. I think Sliver Hive is the easiest cut for sure. I don't see any other sliver synergies you have. 5 mana for a 1/1 is really steep, and you can only do it if you have a sliver, which it seems like you're probably only getting through what I'm presuming is a changeling token you make through an 8-card combo. I think Sliver Hive can technically make a token. I don't know if it does make a token in this deck because I don't see where else you get your slivers from. And you need your slivers from somewhere if it's going to... Oh, Maskwood Nexus. Okay. So I would say Sliver Hive because it's making you... It is unfixed mana. It's unfixed mana that can only make you a 1/1 if you've already resolved Maskwood Nexus. I think... I really like... I don't know why, but the Kobolds of Carekeep seem very cute to me, and so I really don't want to get rid of them. I do think that... Or actually, it might be Great Hall of Starnheim. Or maybe Dwarven Mine. I think Great Hall of Starnheim, the payoff is really bad. Dwarven Mine is the most unrealistic, or the next most unrealistic token generator you have. Having 3 mountains was a steep prayer. A steep, steep prayer in the playtests so far. So we are putting you pretty low on lands, but that's what I would recommend for Ocelot Pride and whatever other card I just said. I like Serotonin. Thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to Doghouse, my friend. Malt says cut lands in a deck with only 34. Let it be known. We're making art, Jim. We're not making playable commander decks. We're making art. Okay, so let's return to the queue Uh, calling again for Panzer Ninja, and otherwise we're going to move on to Grumpy Dragoon. I'll take a look at Mascot Exhibition. Oh, that's a good 3 token maker. They have it already. They thought of that. You're not out Scryfalling this motherfucker. You are not out Scryfalling Jim. Or the hobo who ate him. I do also love Who's That Praetor. Okay, Dragoon, you're here. I haven't seen Panzer Ninja check-in, so we are going to move ahead with Dragoon. This is a silly and spooky deck. My Patreon sub allows me to request you judge my choices, but I only have the one deck I want to buy, this time with art choices. You've requested Coach. I don't know where my headband is, so we're gonna put the fucking lock-in shades on. Let's look at this deck. And this is one we looked at before. It's the Turtle deck. Read the primer, sort by tags. The most fair and borderline awful kindred in Magic, but at least they're not Elks. New revision primer. Mauled. Lean into Cowabunga and threaten damage. Herd. I swapped some categorically bad turtles for ways to buff the fair ones. One of each quintessential turtle weapon and a Condas. More ramp. More Lord cards. Cut utility interaction, added trample, added theft, perfect for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Might cut Daring Thunder Thief for Gamekeeper because its art is adorable. I played a proxy deck a few times in my dad pod, and it tends to challenge the good precons but could be a little stronger. Muriel draws ire when he turns sideways one fucking time. These dickheads act like he wasn't just letting them play untapped lands and shit. I also hit land drops way more in person than I do on Moxfield. I need help finding room for things like Litjara, Sight of Scale Lords, or Descendant's Path if possible. Maybe I need to cut interaction and lean into being a bigger board problem. WotC needs to print more turtles. Okay. So we're looking for cuts. You understand the ads. And what can we do to get you room for the ads? Dogs. Alright, so this is Master Splinter. I do love that. Theft is very good. More people deserve to have their things stolen from them because they have not earned them. I think the important part of a deck like this, particularly in pre-con gaming, is to remember that every Magic game is 2 parts adulation, 1 part capitulation. Coach Persona not necessary. Alright, I'm going to keep the sunglasses on because they're sick. Playing your cards because mine are mid. Wonderfuls. Not today, bitch. I do like the Fallout art for this. Government mandated wheelchair accessibility. So this is all our ramps. We have 51 cards that are dedicated to us getting more mana. What in the absolute fuck are we casting for 11 mana? It's not Last March of the Ends. I was going to call that unnecessary. And here you are, blowing up my fucking spot with whatever 11 mana shitlord you snuck into here. Well thought out additions for streamer praise. Oh, Pride of Holclade. So a fake 11 mana card. I think if you're looking for room to be the problem, I do think you can get away with a little bit less ramp. Most of your deck, the overwhelming majority, exists in the 2 to 4 range. A little bit exists in the 5. Very little exists in the 6+ range. And what that says to me is for you to be able to play Dad Magic, you need to have 4 lands on the field, and that's it. The ads are in the deck tagged, and the things I ripped out are in considering, always edging close to these, but never gooning. Yeah, Descendant's Path would be okay if you had a ton of creatures, but at only 23, like, this is... It's like a KKK rally in a town in Montana with a population of 50 people. Like, it's very aggressive, and it's going to be really underwhelming because you just don't have the population density necessary to affect change. Is Descendants better than Coral Reef? Let me find Coral Reef. Descendants Path. Oh, right. So where's Coral Reef? Are you talking about Retreat to Coralheim, or is there a different Coral card that we are talking about? I think Coralheim is currently better than Descendants Path because it is a straight up 3/4 chance that Descendants Path is always going to whiff, and so many of these turtles are so mid that you don't need to try that hard to draw them. Top deck control and being able to potentially tap down opponent's creatures or selectively tap down your own commander is going to be more overall value for you. If turtles were good enough for it to be worth including 30 plus of them, if you could have as many turtles as you had land drops, Coralheim would feel a lot better. I think Lit Jara for sure we want to find room for. The best way to fix a mid card is to get 2 for 1. Right? Easy. We make mid cards good by getting 2 instead of 1. Oh, I don't want to tell you to kill a turtle. I don't want to make you kill your darlings, but this turtle fucking sucks, man. And I know you know it. I know you know it, but that turtle fucking sucks. We'll fix him. Oof. Why is he that bad? It's more of he's 4 mana to get a basic to the field, which is not a great rate, and he is really good in decks that want to flicker. If you have a bunch of like, oh, I'm bouncing my board, god damn is this boy cultivating. But if you are playing him to just have him walk into the function once and be like, what's up guys, where's the chips? It's not hot. I think your recursion is good. The ooze from the second movie is just for Sona HGH. I don't understand that sentence, and I know that it's changed my psyche forever by perceiving it. Yeah, we're definitely ass first in here. Oh. I almost want to cut Sky Shroud Claim. I do also feel that way about Cryptolith Rite, but specifically what I mean with Sky Shroud Claim is it's currently at the top of almost every meaningful spell you're playing. And so by the time you have the mana to cast your Sky Shroud Claim, you can probably cast everything else meaningful you want to cast. Now in practice, what's going to happen is you're going to put in Reflections of Littjara for Sky Shroud Claim and draw it when you have 4 lands, and then you're going to mail a bomb to my house. And you know what? I almost get that. But I do think that Sky Shroud Claim is the ramp card for people that really need to get to 7 or 8 mana. And I don't think you need to get there. I think you need to get to 4 or 5, and then you're okay to chill out at 4 or 5 for quite a long while. I think the idea is that turtles are bad, so if we are only casting 1 spell a turn, we are sad. If we have 12 mana, we can cast more than 1 a turn. Counterpoint, slow and steady wins the race, and a sad deck makes people underestimate you. I agree with you in theory, Cyborg. What stresses me out about it is because it's all turtles, I do not think we have the ability to refill our hand at the speed necessary to be casting all these spells we're talking about. So we'll kick this. We get to scry 2 and draw a card. I think we keep Nature's Lore on top, and we miss the opportunity to put a land down. But it's turn 4, and we cultivate. Turn 4, cultivate, get a Shadow Spear out, and we don't need to ramp anymore. If we do Last March of the Ents, we're cheating out all our creatures. If we do Cryptolith Rite, we shit mana, but best case scenario is we have an extra BBL on the field, but this deck doesn't do Overwhelm all that great. And because it doesn't do Overwhelm all that great, you know, like playing, like ramping right here, we don't have the spells in hand to make that go crazy. You know, we're doing 1 spell a turn, and we just want the spell to be good. I would argue that resolving, if we compress the decision making just to, I think Reflections of Littjara are better than any 2 other spells combined in this deck. I think making the curve a little bit worse for the opportunity to draw into Reflections of Littjara, I do not think there is any realistic turn you could take of double casting spells because you ramped more with Sky Shroud Claim that you would want over, oh fuck, I get double turtles. Hell yeah. What's up, Adam? Thank you for coming by the stream. This kind of turns into Voltron a turtle a lot of times, and cross your fingers for Banner Last March. Yeah, that's real. Better than Shadow Spear? I don't think so. I think Lifelink is very important for you to survive long enough. Any of these worth making room for. I don't think so. I think the things that are going to be worth making room for are things that really change your stat lines aggressively. I do not think keywords, I don't think Boy Scout badges are enough to turn around the turtle game plan. I think the turtles need steroids. The turtles need Trenbolone. They're the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They need the ooze. And I really, really like that you went for the flavorful equipments. But I think other than... What I would say is an equipment that's worth more than any of those other equipments you listed is Blackblade Reforged. Even though it doesn't give trample, just with how much ramp you have, just having, you know, my turtles above a 10-10 at an unmodified precon table, that's good enough. Days Tuna, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the Doghouse. Absolutely yes. Ink Eyes Servant of Oni can get it. This is honestly, this is unreasonable. It's unreasonable that they drew it like this. They knew what they were doing, and more specifically, I think they knew what they were doing to me, and I don't appreciate it. But overall, I really like the changes you've made. I like the flavor that we can see in this deck now. I think your ramp, particularly given what you've told... I think that your ramp section, particularly given what you've told us about hitting your land drops more in real life than you are in our playtests, is you are saving up for retirement. And ninjas don't have a fucking pension. They just kill everybody. And I wouldn't cut this to shreds, but if you are looking for space to include anything, we are already so low on turtles before we have to declare the deck an endangered species that I would look for Reflections of Littjara or maybe Kindred Discovery in the ramp section. Number 2 most important ad. I would try Blackblade Reforged. Please tell me this asshole has a sword. Boom. This dude needs us to look at Call to the Kindred. Let me look at this. Call to the Kindred. This is gonna get your dude shot in the chest so fast. But yeah, this would be pretty good. If you think you can keep the M off any of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles heads when you enchant them with Call to the Kindred, absolutely do this. But this is like, you got to be better than the Secret Service to pull this shit off. You played this in front of me, I would freak out. I never like to enchant creatures, begging for a 2-for-1 on Muriel. That's what I was thinking. If you don't want to get 2-for-1, I would Blackblade Reforged, and then boom, you got Shredder's Sword. But if you feeling risky, Call to the Kindred's much better than Descendant's Path in terms of payoff. Badger, the deck submissions are done via Patreon, but there's a limited number of submissions a month. Muriel, I believe, is Arkelos. I don't know why, but this just looks like it would be named Muriel to me. Like, it looks like if you met them on the street, they would not introduce themselves as Arculos. They would introduce themselves as Muriel. Well, no, he's called Arculos. See, that's data-driven decision-making. And I'm really more on some vibes guy shit. Muriel, the Turtle Pope from Elden Ring. That's why you trust the vibes. That's why you always trust the vibes rather than the data-driven decision-making. Okay, we're going to keep it pushing. Dragoon, thank you for submitting this deck yet again. I hope this was helpful or at least enjoyable. We are going to call for both Panzer Ninja and JM Goody. I know Goody said, all right, Goody, you're ready. And then we'll start with you, and then Panzer Ninja, if you're here, let us know. So this deck is hopefully spooky, but it's not in paper yet. We have a primer on Moxfield. In 2 words, the deck is Stop Playing. Zugzwang. From German, compulsion to move. Pronounced nope. Is a situation found in chess and other turn-based games where one player is put at a disadvantage because of their obligation to make a move. The player is said to be in Zugzwang when any legal move will worsen their position. We've got the Lord of Pain. Let's check the primer first. Needs cuts and some help adding good protection. Would appreciate any help. Read the tags as if you are saying them to your opponents. I want the Rule 0 conversation to sound like Evan Kelp's speech before his duel in Misfits in Magic. I have watched it. I have it memorized by heart. Well, not by heart because I can't recount it line for line, but the next 90 seconds are going to be really important for you. It is other people's fault that they sat down and played Magic. Any damage one takes is one's own fault. Play spells, don't play spells, tap lands, don't tap them. It will all punish you in the end. The harder you struggle, the worse it hurts. So here's a problem for you, Goody. Is by invoking a Brennan Lee Mulligan bit for the vibes of this deck, you have started at a 10 out of 10. And that's going to be really bad for you when we have to actually worry about playing Magic, which is, at its best, a 4 out of 10 experience. But the bar is really high. The bar is really high, but I'm glad that you're aiming high. 37 lands reasonable. So Lord of Pain, people can't gain life, Stigma Balls. Whenever a player casts their first spell each turn, choose another player, deal damage equal to the mana value to the chosen player. So let's see what else you're doing to force them into Zugzwang. Whenever the reanimation player goes, deal 3 damage. I know where your cuts are going to come from, but we'll get to that later. If they would lose life, lose twice as much life. I know exactly where your cuts are coming from. Whenever they cast a cheap spell, take 2. Whenever you gain life, they lose life. Whenever they draw a card, deal 1. Whenever they cast their second spell, deal 2. Fuck it, crash out at the function. Oh, right, tags. I'm so sorry. Die. That's a good tag. That's a good tag. Tap an untapped creature, deal damage equal to its power to its controller. Somebody tap target untapped creature, that creature deals damage equal to its power to its controller, has lost a game to a rampaging Brontodon played by a ramp player. You're real as hell for this. I'm putting this in all my decks. Whenever a creature is put into graveyard, deal 2 damage to the controller, 1 damage to each of up to 2 controllers. This has to be a trauma response. Die, he says, as he pelts us with a Werther's Original from the sidelines. Whenever you gain life, they lose life. 1 damage. One in the same section, we have deal 1 damage, crash the absolute fuck out. Right next to each other. We got Mike Tyson and Crazy Kyle, the scrawny 8-year-old with behavioral problems, in terms of effectiveness. Lightning Bolt, Rakdos Charm. So you play against some token players, huh? You play against some crazy 1/1 value engines. Is this man your sleep paralysis demon? With that many, pelt them for a little tiny bit. Oh my Mawo, Shinderu's good. Die faster, so these are our doublers. I like most of these. Don't cast the free spells. Good. Fuck them. Don't cast spells. God, Oppression's so hateful. So is Painful Quandary. So we have another don't cast cheap stuff. Don't play creatures. Be racist. Don't do anything. Don't do anything. And then a little bit of group hug. And then a little bit of group hug. Don't draw cards. These are presumably all great. Yeah, this is very straightforward and clean. Don't gain life. This is phenomenal. I do think I'm going to break the template of getting through the deck first and say the Stigma Balls joke is right there. And I think if you have a deck that has the opportunity to accurately use the term Zugzwang and Stigma Balls in the same section, you gotta. You have a moral obligation to go for that. Don't lose life. So Bloodchief Ascension and Valgavoth, these are both very good. Don't play on other people's turns. That's just respectful. Don't play non-basics. Just respectful. Don't play lands. Absolutely. Why are the green players trying to do it? Why is it Zugzwang? Well, my interpretation from their primer is Zugzwang is when every move is bad for you, which appears to be what they're trying to achieve with both the commander and everything else in here. Don't storm off. Phenomenal. These are both two very, very good anti-storm options. Don't target my stuff. Oh, no. No, not taking us to tier 3 right at the end. Tap your lands. I like this. Neheb and Spiteful Banditry. Kill your own stuff. I have to gain life or I will die turn 4. Gotcha. Okay. So what I would say is if we're looking for space to add cuts, the problems with this deck are it has a couple things that really want to punish people in ways that aren't going to come through. I think the poster child for this is Bloodletter of Aclazotz. Almost everything you're doing punishes them for something they're doing on their own turn. Almost everything you're punishing, gaining life, tapping their lands, casting creature spells, all of that stuff is stuff they're going to do. Storming off, almost all that stuff is going to happen on their turns, and this only impacts life they lose on your turn. This is basically, if I play this with Heartless Hitagetsu, haha, I win, and otherwise I'm totally useless, which is more useful than Hot Topic employees normally are, but I do think it's an easy cut. And along the same lines, there was another, I think Ash Zealot is another easy cut. This is one of the more creative ads, but it's creative because it's underplayed, and it's underplayed because it's really bad. I will accept the argument that this is a very specific meta call. However, most graveyard players aren't casting from the graveyard. They're reanimating. They're placing things onto the battlefield. All of the popular graveyard strategies I see say, hey, see that thing in the trash? And they just dump the trash can. They don't say, can I cast this? Moving on from that vein into stuff that just isn't going to do well enough for you, I would argue for Price of Progress. Unless you have got, you know, the 5-color Praetor Kenrith deck, the Golos player, whatever, I doubt your opponents are going to be running enough non-basics for this to secure a game for you. And because it's a one-time spell, I think that one-time spell would be better spent establishing your own board, drawing cards, protecting the things you've already established. But circling back to stuff that's not going to fucking happen, did this come out of a Duskmourn box? And that's why we have it? I'm smelling a little bit. Ooh, I opened Pretty Snake, so Pretty Snake went in deck. I can understand the argument I have to gain life or I'm going to die turn 4. I don't think your life gain is 100% not targeted enough for Enduring Tenacity to be worth a slot in the deck. There is, with 6 cards that gain you life, well, 7 with this combo that we're cutting anyway, but with only 6 cards in the deck that gain you life, it's not very reliable that you're going to gain life, period. If you want to gain life across the board, a more effective way to do this would be lifelink equipments for anything that deals direct damage. I agree with MLP that Exquisite Blood you can keep. Exquisite Blood, this is legitimate, very expensive, and good life gain engine. Sanguine Bond really just seems to be here to complete the infinite, and the only time I will forgive infinites are when they're not being included just to complete a loop. Both cards are equally viable in the deck, and that's super not the case here. You have I think Sanguine Bond's just here just in case the stars align, and what I want to get to is a situation of just in case you're actually allowed to play the game. I would also question, I'm assuming these are meta calls, but I'm 100% questioning what's going on with Dual Shot, Gut Shot, Lightning Bolt, and I guess Impact Tremors, you're on 27 creatures, so it's not the strongest card you could have, but I don't think it's going to be completely wasted on a deck that's trying to burn people out. I am going to ask what you're smoking for Shock, Gut Shot, and Dual Shot. Demigod, yes, we can. You can for sure go in just over an hour. Oh yeah, Whip of Erebos. I have this in my Henzi deck. Anytime this card resolves, it saves the game for me. I realize that Henzi is much more based around big things swinging than other things swinging. But in terms of life gain, you want to give your stuff life gain. Felt like they were necessary because it's a pinger deck, but I see they fit less. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be hard on you specifically. I want to be hard on the human population at large. There's a very specific phenomenon that happens when you try to build a commander deck, which is you read everything on the card, you pick the part of the card you're going to focus on, and your brain goes into word cloud mode of trying to grab everything that is useful or related to that phenomenon. So for Lord of Pain, you were focusing on, oh, I'm pinging people for doing stuff, so you grabbed their pingers. It's the same way that if you were playing a mono green deck, you would grab everything that helped you ramp or hit face, or if you were playing an Azorius deck, you would grab everything that lets you try to get around people who had blocked your phone number or get around restraining orders, stuff like that. And it happens to everybody. So it's not a reason to feel particularly bad, but it is a reason, but it is something we want to call out explicitly and try to overcome. Grand Arbiter, thank you for coming by the stream. I am glad and a little bit sorry that I hurt you with the Aruth roast. If you were a pinger deck that wanted every damage multiplier in the game, then I would argue more for deal ones that become bigger. But as it stands, I don't think you should do that. No, Whip of Erebos. Oh yeah, it will. Well, yes, as long as a creature is dealing the damage. So, like, it would trigger for Fate Raveler, it would trigger for Cataract Parasite, it would trigger for Bowmasters, wouldn't trigger for the Life Loss of Sheoldred, would work for Needlehead, not Dreams because it's not a creature. Would work for, yes, it would trigger for Lord of Pain. Your Lord of Pain triggers with Whip of Erebos would heal you for as much as he did damage. Same goes if you include something like Shadow Spear. Same goes if you include something like Basilisk Collar. Basilisk Collar is mostly wasted on you just for the reason that very few of your things are dealing damage to creatures, but it is a very cheap lifelink equipment. JT Digay, thank you very much for the follow and the Prime sub. And Inspiral JP, thank you for the Prime sub as well. Welcome to the dog home, my friends. I appreciate those Bezos bucks. But MLP does raise the good point. If we're talking about Zugzwang, it's hard to get more accurate than misspelling the card. This is the, for sure, like, you have to start moving. Glyph, it is okay for people in chat to chime in with suggestions. I may not get to all of them within each deck. Switch GM, the Patreon tier for the roast is currently full, yes. So those are the things I would cut. I also don't see any card draw. And this is a deck where it seems very important that you get the right stuff set up. If nothing else, you need to get your land drops set up. You have a 5-mana commander who's probably going to make people angry. And here in this first playtest, you have a handful of mountains and a dream. So we can get the Rug of Smothering out. Never mind, you hit 5 land drops because God loves you. What am I even talking? Don't listen to me. Deck's perfect, bro. Don't change anything. I'm the idiot. I'm sorry. That's my fault. I hate you. Never mind. Just play anything on curve. Just play anything you want on curve, bro. My bad. I do think you need card draw. You can go with the staple engines like Phyrexian Arena. If you want to lean into making people really angry with you, you can do Wheels since you are in red. Or you can do the very... Oh, it's Read the Bones. Or you can read the bones about it. I also think you're missing any type of big board wipe. If the table ever unionizes against you, you are going to die very, very quickly because you do not create a very compelling board presence. And so I would get rid of these 1 damage things. I would get rid of the things that we already talked about that don't work at all. I would cut out the things that are just half of a combo. And from there, I would try to add in a couple lifelink equipments, a little bit of card draw, and at least 1 board wipe. And if you want to get really funny with the board wipes, you can do Repercussion and Blasphemous Act, but that's the silliest you can be, okay? You're on parole. This is the silliest you can be. Is there a way to fit Goad in here to protect myself? I don't think in a reasonable way. I think the deck's going to be too full unless you want to swap to... Yeah, I think Brash Taunter will do more to discourage people from killing you than Goad will. Because what Goad is going to do is you're going to get 1 turn of a creature not coming after you, and that person is going to hate you forever. If you want to do Goad and you want to Turtle Shell up, then Lord of Pain is going to be your only pinger, and you're going to have Lord of Pain, lifelink equipments, damage doublers, and everything else is going to be Rakdos control. If you want to do Lord of Pain Zugzwang, which is what you're currently doing, you need all these alternate pingers. I do like the deck, though, but I think there's a couple... in terms of other, yes, there is another very funny card that will get your ass beat. Makes everybody tap out. It makes everybody full swing. However, they will be full swinging at you. I think what this deck has currently overlooked is in Zugzwang, every legal move is supposed to worsen their position. You're trying to build a box where they have to do something that's going to be bad for them. And right now you've built a box, but the box has 1 opening in 1 corner. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to draw a diagram on the wall of where that 1 hole opens to. Right here, buddy. They're going to come right here. And we got to stop that. And if they're going to stop that, we need to get some card draw, probably some board wipes. But you are going to be arch enemy. We're going to move on to Shadow Walker so that we can get to Demigod Peanut in time. This is a silly and spooky deck. Mono red Spellslinger. Firestorm, Ashling, Flame Dancer. We also missed some stuff. D Thunder and Crispy231. Thank you for the Twitch follows. Welcome to the Doghouse, my friend. And Pandana Beanbag, thank you for the Prime sub. Welcome to the Dog Home, my friend. There is a primer. I build decks based on what looks interesting. When I saw Ashling's ability, it got the "is it" part of my brain excited. I'm aware of all the moving parts that need to be remembered. I've been playing Commander for 13 years and have been friendless for almost as long. This deck has to be played with a warrior mindset. In most cases with cards, you lose it and it's gone. Very little recursion. So tough decisions on what to discard. Deck has 2 modes. Storm off, touch a bunch of cards and lose, which isn't really a loss. You got to touch cards. Alright, bunch of tags, which I do think I will understand as I don't work in IT. I'm a Storm player myself, Walker, so I don't really mean it. Okay, so we have a Copier, Planeswalker. Let me turn these tags on. Second Torch. So these are our copiers. Burning through creatures. I'm presuming Okay, so here's our removal. Whew. If you would lose... Okay, Horizon Stone. Alhamarets. Okay, doubling our card draw. Improve our pings. So this is touch everything. This is the touch everything zone. Collateral damage, firewall. Man, in case I've really fucked up, here's an Elder God. This is a dedicated Storm deck that touches a bunch of cards and sometimes combos off. Man, and sometimes I just call Cthulhu about this shit. Sometimes it's been a long day and motherfuckers try me too much. Can you even make the... We have 2 lands. Oh, it's a discard to not mill out. But it can't be. It's not a shuffle. It can be used to touch 7 more cards. True. Soul Ring, tons of rocks, rekindling, splash petrol. Okay. Let's look at your Okay. So the primer says mono red Spellslinger. Even understanding this is Kozilek, this credit card statement says mid-range window shopper. Spellslinging is often very similar to prowess in terms of how it wants to move, and your similarity to a prowess deck ends after 2. I think in terms of... Now, it's also a question of what you want the deck to do. I'm very much like you, where my joy that's associated with a game is not associated as much with winning as it is with getting to look through all the lovely, lovely cards I picked for the deck. I think what's assuredly preventing it from winning is it has so few ways to translate what it's doing into damage. It has Aetherflux Reservoir, it has Comet Storm, and if you tell me that you are regularly getting to the mana and the copiers to make Comet Storm, Jesus, we're gonna do a clean take. If you tell me that with regularity you are getting to the mana and the copiers to make Comet Storm a compelling win condition, hey, I believe you. Life's too short to argue with liars. But with Gutter Snipe, if the goal is I'm going to wheel through the whole deck. Oh, you can hold on to the mana the whole game. I always misread these as only lasting until end of turn. So I'm back in with Comet Storm. That said, even being back on with Comet Storm, I don't trust that we're really getting enough done. Cast or copy an instant or sorcery. So we ritual. We're up 2 mana. Draw a discard, so we'll get rid of that. We're up to... I think we probably just Gauntlet of Power. We Gutter Snipe. And now we're pretty fucking cooked. Oh woof. We do have mass removal, so we draw discard to Ashling's ability, draw 2. Let's pray we resolve Burgi, but we can't get the second trigger because we don't have another instant or sorcery. I don't think we want to discard this. We can tap out to get Thrill of Possibility back. Ooh, wee. Oh, you would have floated 10. True, true, true. So we can float for $1 billion. We just can't. I mean, obviously the problem is card draw, and the problem with mono red is always card draw. I think there's at least a few of these things that could be cut for exile draw. So stuff like Ren's Resolve, because if we get the curve under control, a big way to fix your problems is to stop having every single card in your deck be card neutral or card negative, which is where you're at right now, I believe. I think or at least the only card draw we saw that game was card selection. And the set of everything, there is exile draw. Let's go find that. Okay, we have Embrace the Unknown. There's Inti. I would replace Flipburgy? We can't be coping this hard 10 minutes into the roast. We cannot be coping. You cannot be talking to me about... I mean, like, Flipburgy, good exile draw. I think you would be better off with trading half of these discard into draw for exile draw. Because you hit the bottom of the barrel instantly. Like, that play... And honestly, it's one play test, but we wasted no time running out of cards. And this playtest looks like it's going to be a lot of the same. It's like we get Ashling out. We have 2, so we get 3. We draw, we discard. We'll madness this for 1 of the red that we have floating, just to fuck up any token players who had any ideas. We draw and discard again. Fuck this mutt. GoGo9, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. I mean, I'm gonna cough because we need to get mountains just to have things in hand to discard away. Like I see you've held yourself back from the brink of going Mr. Hyde on your friend group by not including Underworld Breach, and your graveyard use is relatively limited. But we spin down so fast to, I have 1 card in hand, and if it's good, I have to throw it away because of Ashling. And I think Ashling is already she's stapling half of a Faithless Looting onto every single spell you cast. And so just having a couple be card positive, if we have the curve controlled and you have faith in your ability to just be pooping rocks, like if you just keep passing kidney stones and getting these mountains into play and holding the mana up, being able to go card positive any number of times is going to be so huge for this deck continuing to function. Because it doesn't, to me, this does not feel like I burn through everything no matter what, and it's just a question of whether or not I burn through to a win or burn through to a lose or burn through to a loss. This feels a lot like I start burning and then I go youch and I have to go get a band-aid. So like we do this and then we float one red. So we have one red floating. Still one red floating. And now we can try and go pretty crazy because things have finally lined up for us. Panzer Ninja, we haven't gone through your deck yet. We have one more person we need to fit in before you, and then we're going to get you in. But we did wait for you. So we could do this, make a billion. Okay, and we have Faithless Looting now. Which this has flashback, so we're cool with putting it away. And it's like, and it's once again it's the lack of ability to go card positive is what's preventing us from being able to try and cook. Not even cooking to the unfair degree that so many mono red Storm players want to. So I would really, really advise these exile things, these like impulse draw stuff. I would also advise like Wild Wasteland. I would definitely recommend it over some of these more expensive things. Chain Reaction's fine. I struggle to understand what situations you would want Chain Reaction over Blasphemous Act. Flame Jab I get because it has Retrace. Fiery Temper I kind of get because it has Madness. I'm not sure I believe in Hedron Archive. Like if we're so hard up for card draw that we're taking Commander's Sphere and a mono red Storm deck, we gotta be considering all of the red impulse draw. Like we have to be, like your average card right now costs you a card and a half, which is, you know, I don't even have a good analogy for that. It's just it's so rough. And the only way to make it less rough is with things like War Room. Things like War Room make it a lot better. Things like Ren's Resolve make it a lot better. Things like Wild Wasteland make it a lot better. But anything. No, this is not a Dance with Calamity deck. And Troper, the problem with this deck is that it has too many thrills. It has Thrill of Possibility and Tormenting Voice. It's stared too deeply into the abyss, and now the abyss is staring back at it. Oh, I really like this too. Containment Construct would be really good. It's very cheap, so it's not going to fuck up your curve. Conspiracy Theorist, same thing. Bag of Holding is going to be another version of the same effect. But I've done this to myself too, where I've wanted to build a Spellslinger deck, and I'm like, oh, I'm too hot. I'm too nice. I need to take out the broken things to hold myself back. And I think you've done that too successfully. You've done that particular job too well, and we want to unchain you a little bit in the specific realm of not every piece of card draw you have needs to kick you in the dick. And currently it does. Currently, everything but Alhammaret's Archive and Flip Bergi kicks you square in the balls. Oh, and Howling Mine. Howling Mine as well. But everything else is we gotta get rid of something in order to get something else, and it doesn't have to universally be that. Bag of Holding is probably the worst version of this effect for you, because you want to be able to make the choice about what you're hanging around with. And for everything that I've suggested as a replacement, I would be cutting anything. I would be only picking from things that are 4 mana or more. But that comes from my normal bias about how Spellslinger decks work. I've not personally used one that holds on to mana as you go through turns. But in general, anything that's 4 mana and up, you really got to be looking at sideways. But I do accept your argument that the assholes at your table play things that are bigger than 13/13s, and so Blasphemous Act won't cut it. Bone Horde, yeah, Bone Horde is really good, is really expensive. Would definitely cut away from the Spellslinger burn through everything like that theme, instead to have the fucking hammerhead dragon. This deck's trying to go on a shopping spree with a $30 Macy's gift card that is not full. And we need to fill it up. We need to give you the resources to get to the vision, because I see the vision and I like the vision. Adventures of Chowdy, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the Doghouse. And I'll even let you slide on having 3 cards that can help you win the game in service of drawing most of your deck every game. But to do that, we cannot play every single card for the price of 1 1/2 cards. We can't be giving up half a card on credit to our ops when we're trying to spell sling. But overall, I do like it. I just think there's a couple points that could be improved on the consistency. Shadow Walker, thank you very much for your submission. We're going to move to Demigod Peanut before they get off to their World of Warcraft raid. Mono black Turgid Ballsack deck. No infinites as far as I know. Limited tutoring. Just giving my enemies a reach around while I take their cards. Prime Minister. I'm not Googling that, but I bet it's a good meme. Oh, that's the outdated one. You email. Okay, I'll pull up your email. Of course I cannot find your email. When did you... Oh, wait. Hold on. There we go. Oh, this is so much better. 10 Niv Mizzets. This is the deck I consider my strongest and usually play for high-power games. After the recent bans, I would like some advice on replacements for Dockside and Jeweled Lotus. The only deck that you are prohibited from touching is Helm of the Host, as we need it for the 10 Niv Mizzets. Unironically, it's pretty decent in the deck because every extra Niv on the board is exponentially stronger. Please fix my mana base. This is what we're going for, people. This is what it's all about. This is the dream. This is the energy. Baby Yaga 372 and Jonah A. Pixel, thank you for the Twitch follows. Welcome to the Doghouse, my friends. You've come to us looking at art instead of whatever fucked up Turgid deck we were going to look at. So my first recommendation is, what do I do if I'm playing Niv Mizzet and I can no longer play Jeweled Lotus and Dockside Extortionist? And the answer is pick a different commander. Editor, do a wacky noise there. For high power, it's going to be really hard. We're definitely not fucking around if we're in high power, and you probably need to cut some things for either more control or more treasure. However, nothing is going to make treasure as effectively as Dockside Extortionist or Jeweled Lotus did, and so I would recommend leaning into more control. And if we're going to lean into more control, we need to take out some of the more optimistic spells like Thousand Year Storm. This is 6 mana. If we're spending 6 mana, we should be casting Niv Mizzet and we should be winning the game. I didn't read the flavor text on 10 Niv Mizzets because I have a poster of this above my bedroom. I was pulling this up for you all. I know what it says. Hey, Descent into Avernus, extremely playable. I personally think the extra turn stuff is also a little bit too optimistic. Niv Mizzet typically doesn't need extra turns. You just need to win the turn you stick Niv Mizzet. Yeah, so if we're at CEDH but not quite all the way there, there's going to be some mix of cards you thought were cute, and we need to identify these cute things that you liked, and we need to scrub the you need extra turns for the Helm of the Host to get you to 10 Niv Mizzets. Then the next question is, how much do you care about winning and how much do you care about being the best Magic player to ever exist? Mythologist, thank you for the tier 1 Twitch sub. Welcome to the dog home, my friend, for the 2nd month in a row. I have no patience for Bezos's damnable advertisements. Damonot, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse. Because what I would recommend is you have a number of things that give up on the jank that is 10 Niv Mizzets and try to win the game in a different way, or try to create a lot of momentum for you in a different way. And what I always recommend to people who are trying to do fluky shit is you gotta double the fuck down. You gotta lock in. Who cares about Jin-Gitaxias Progress Tyrant? You drop that right now for a 2nd Niv Mizzet. Why in the fuck would we wait 7 turns to copy a spell when we could wait 4 turns and copy Niv Mizzet? Same goes for Ovika. This card, what are you gonna do? Make 5 1/1 goblins and kill people with that? Absolutely not. We're gonna copy Niv motherfucking Mizzet. If we're gonna get to 10, we gotta start early. So I also think I think Storm Conduit goes. I think Chandra Hope's Beacon probably goes, mainly because it's too slow. I think anything that is as expensive as Niv or more needs to lock up the dream of 10 Niv Mizzets. And so I'll give you a couple of the extra turn spells to try to get space to do it. But Thousand Year Storm, that's not making us additional Niv Mizzets. Irenicus's Vile Duplication is making us additional Niv Mizzets. We need this needs to be your table, and they need to be going, a second Niv Mizzet has hit the board, a third Niv Mizzet has hit the board, a fourth Niv Mizzet has hit the board. You need to copy paste this meme 9 times. Oh no, Troper, I was plagiarizing you, but we have to do clean cuts for the editors, is the thing. This is the result of us watching back all the stream videos and me trying to improve things. Is previously when chat makes a good joke, I would just be like, oh, good job, chat. And now I'm going to steal it and put it on screen. And maybe you'll get a writer's credit, but I think that's going to play better in the eventual videos and will play better in the roast than just me going like, huh, good job, chat. And so I will still credit you. Troper, that was a very good joke, and I liked it enough that I immediately ripped it off. But I am not joking when I say that if we want to be on Funny Jank, everything that is really costly has to be dedicated to the true cause of this deck, which is 10 Niv Mizzets. And you say, and you told me, wait until Thousand Year Storm hits the table with 10 Niv Mizzets. What I will raise you is wait until anything hits the table with 10 Niv Mizzets. 10 Niv Mizzets is Chernobyl. We don't need to say, wait until a fire starts. We just need to wait until somebody breathes, and this table is getting turned into a field of glass. And so I wouldn't worry too much about, oh, how do I close once I have 10 Niv Mizzets? You can do 10 Niv Mizzets. Shock. Troper says gut shot. This one I'll actually read. You can do fucking... You could do 10 Niv Mizzets, Gitaxian Probe. And you've got that shit handled. Who cares, bro? You've got 10 Niv Mizzets. Look at somebody's feet and kiss them goodbye. And you win. And so on a similar note, I would only keep the very, very best of your ramp options. Chrome Mox makes sense. Talisman makes sense. Omniscience I'll give you because Omniscience is just so fucking good. Expansion Explosion I don't believe in. Do you have Narset's Reversal? Narset's Reversal is the universally better version of that spell. You Narset's Reversal your own Irenicus's Legendary Duplication. Boom. You know what you need? From the one and only Cyborg, I doubted the tech until I got to play with it myself using an Izzet deck. You need a Surveyor's Scope. You get one goddamn Surveyor's Scope in play, they're not gonna know what fucking hit them, bro. You're on 32 lands. One Surveyor's Scope, they have no fucking idea what's coming. They have no fucking idea what's coming. I tried it and I was pissed off because I took over the game. It's only good in Izzet. It is only good in the colors where you otherwise miss every fucking land drop until the day you die. But in Izzet Spellslinger, where you just get mana fucked every time, let that shit rock. Let it rock, bro. I promise you, it's cookery. I didn't believe in it. I did not believe in it, but it is cookery. Yeah, I lost the game because I was too nice and I cut the other cookery. And Danny wheeled away every ad I put into the deck. Bean. I added the dinosaur. I added a bunch of exile draws. He wheeled away every single one. Gearson Starn's already in Revived Lich. And honestly, if we're talking about real high power, I think you need Gamble in here too. Because we have to find Helm of the Host. We have to find something to get the copying going. Oxpreon, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the Doghouse, my friend. Same goes for Lemon Twist, Elish Norns, Mommy Milk, and Quartz Runner. Thank you for the Twitch follows, my friends. Guido Mista, it is a Patreon redeem. And so I think even Leyline of Anticipation it's a maybe. I think this is really bad unless you get it in the opening hand. But overall, I would double down on looking for your jank. You could, I don't know of other, I mean, there's no other way in the game to match the treasure generation or the mana pop off of Dockside Jeweled Lotus. So nothing's going to catch up to that. But I think getting rid of some of these really, this is holy shit. Holy shit, this is a mana curve that speaks of crushing credit card debt. Crushing credit card debt. I want to bring up one thing chat's been suggesting that I haven't brought up. I looked it up at first. I'm not confident that this is a mirror box situation, only because if we put in the density of clone effects necessary for mirror box to really get play, I think we give up on being high power because we have to cut so much interaction. We're not doing Sakashima's will. Yeah, you could try this, but I still think that we end up cutting into too many of the cards that are just like generically super good. When we go for non-legendary copying, I think like Spark Double, Sakashima, Arenicus's Vile Duplication. I think those are the hot stuff that we sneak in, and then the rest of it needs to be this like control, survive, card draw game plan. But I love the meme. Cyborg, thank you for hitting them with the stream schedule. We're going to be streaming more. You guys, we're so close to being able to go full time. We're so close, in which case I will be able to stream much, much more. Badger Among Men, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the Doghouse, my friend. But, so Demigod, you gotta commit. You gotta commit. You have a great idea. You have the heart, and you gotta put the fire behind it. We can't be giving them this weak shit. I guess my Niv Mizzet jank didn't work. I'll try to win with Overrun. No, the fuck you won't. We are making Ral Zarek say holy shit. We are making you deal 10 damage to any target on every card drawn. We are making 10 Niv Mizzets hit the fucking tower. Lotion, thank you for the tier 1 Twitch sub. Welcome to the dog home, my friend. For the third month in a row. I appreciate that generosity. It's 100 actually. Oh yeah, draw 10. Yeah. So I think Demigod, initially it might not work as well, but I think when this pops off, I think you will pop off more often, and I think the pop-offs will feel very sweet, and you will have way more games where you get at least a couple Niv Mizzets, even if it doesn't get all the way to 10. Jabrowski3313, thank you for the Prime sub. I appreciate those Bezos bucks. Welcome to the dog home, my friend. Damonot, thank you so much. Those are such kind words, and I really appreciate it. For fixing your mana base, it's hard. And is it, I would say, run Jeweled Lotus, run Dockside, get them banned, give up. In terms of fixing your mana base, probably get rid of Reliquary Tower. You don't need a full hand, you need a full board, and it needs to be full of 10 fucking Niv Mizzets. Deuced, we're getting to 10 with Helm of the Host. It would be 10 with Helm of the Host, or we could even go for, like, more spell recursion to recur Renicus's Vile Duplication. Will Edgelord, thank you for redeeming that random Smasher Pass. Let's see. Hell no. Absolutely not. They got heartburn, bro. They're going to vomit on me. Cyborg, thank you for the Prime sub for the second month in a row. Welcome back to the dog home, my friend. I appreciate that generosity. I think we had another one earlier. I know it says Fertile Ground. We're skipping. I will not pull up my search history on stream. I will not pull up my search history on stream. I will not pull up my search history on stream. I will not pull up my search history on stream. We've got Panzer Ninja's deck. Myriad is a funny keyword. But we are going to move on to Panzer Ninja now. Thank you very much for the submission, Demigod. I hope you enjoyed it. I did enjoy reviewing it. So now we're going to look at a spooky deck. Last person, or there's two people I know we're waiting on. I know we're waiting on Beelevy and Znifert. So if you all are around, please say something. Otherwise, we will get you rescheduled. And we're going to move to Panzer Ninjas. Howdy, I found this commander recently and wanted to make a silly little Unga Bunga deck with copying stuff, multiple combats, and lots of ETB triggers. I love the idea of putting the slug into group slug decks. Since my Scryfall search skills were complemented, I've made sure to try and disappoint with the deck building again. This deck is only brewed, but I'm looking to put it into paper at some point. There's some cards in considering that may want to be swapped in. Deck in one word's Myriad. Strawberry Poppy, thank you for that Prime sub. I appreciate those Bezos bucks, my friend. Okay, Myriad is a funny keyword. So, the haters and the ops, known as the rules of Magic, can't force us to sacrifice or exile creature tokens. Legend rule doesn't apply. So we want to be copying a lot of stuff that we would ostensibly have to get rid of at the end of the turn or the end of combat that we're not going to have to. Future tax evasion. Oh, this is hot. That's very good, because you get him out, you Myriad him, nothing bad happens to you. That's beautiful. Gotta go fast. Yeah, giving haste is a tremendously good idea. Kaiser ASD 79, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. I'm advancing the game state. So we have a good Myriad ETB. We got some good death triggers. We got some good ETBs. More good ETBs and death triggers. I'm an aristocrat. Great ETB. Recursion for when they rightfully shoot you in the chest. Oh, I love Spectacular Showdown. You get a little internet kiss right from me. I love this card. Yeah, Warstorm Spurge. Let's do violence. So additional combats, which is going to pay off like gangbusters for Myriad. Touch cards, you're letting me down, but everyone does here. That's okay. That's okay. 35 lands. In the middle, I question this because of everything we scrolled past and how Gucci adjacent it looked. But I'll give you a moment. O-Tag, make a fuck ton of copies. O-Tag, get Swifty. Alexios is evil. Alexios is truly evil. Banshee of the Dread Choir. Okay, you did get Blade of Selves. Tremendous. Calamity is so fucked up. Bardic Immunity. Thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. Determined Iterations. Clever. El Turel Survivors is so hot. Oh, it feels so good to run this at the green player. Furlbog Flutist, which is Theft and Myriad. Nobody tell my girlfriend about this card. This is probably going in every deck I have that runs red. Flame Rush is great. Flame Shadow Conjuring is great. This one's interesting. Fuck you. Stevie5011, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. Make a lot of tokens. Yeah, this is O-Tag, make a million tokens. Now, before we see the full curve, I'm pretty sure you fucked up. Before I see the full curve, I'm pretty sure you financed a 2024 Mustang with 15% APR on your first day out of basic. But let's... Yeah, you motherfucker. This is a mana hand, and it is a greedy hand. So there's a part of this slide where I say that every deck has 30 cards. And that is the rule that I would like to bring up here. When I say a good deck has 30 cards, that's because you're using up 30 to 40 for your land base. You're probably using up another 5 to 10 for your ramp, which you are. And then most people go, after that, I can just focus on theme. And it's not true. You have 30 cards with which to really drive forward your main gimmick, both for setups and payoffs. And you've tried to fit in 25 things that hit the word cloud for what this deck wants to do. And I think, okay, well, you're going to hit fucking 4 lands and fix your mana in your first hand, you cheater. But let's pretend, well, okay, even with this hand, the first thing we're doing, I'm going to pretend we surveilled that. The first thing we're doing isn't until turn 4. And it's going to be Mirkwood, Bats, or Delina. Take your pick. Then we turn 5. We Flame Rush Rider. We Relic of Legends. So turn 7, we're going to play our commander for the first time. Turn 7, play our commander for the first time. We'll use Flame Rush, and we'll get to be very tricky. We'll get 1 free token, but I don't think this triggers the Myriad because he's already attacking when it comes in. Turn 8, now it's going to get wicked. And we have 14 power on board. World at War is going to be very good for us. This is assuredly a mind control deck. If either of these guys get shot, they don't even have to hate you. If you just get caught in the crossfire and somebody board wipes and you lose these synergy pieces to gang violence, you are in so much trouble. You are in so much trouble. And this is a somewhat more realistic playtest where we're going to Exotic Orchard. We get a mountain, and so we have this Myriad creature who is only in here because they say Myriad and are swagged out. Drip to the feet. We can't see their grippers, but I'm willing to bet that Nike ticks are on fleek. And then it's a lot of hurry up and wait. And Professional Facebreaker is very good for us for this treasure trigger. I will pretend, because I'm nice, that they let you hit. And then it's more hurry up and wait. And we have to ramp with treasures. And if people ever stop us, we really quickly get into trouble again. Your entire deck cares too much about hitting four plus lands. This is the opposite problem of that one deck, the turtle deck we looked at, where it was, you know, after you get 3 to 4 lands, you're basically done. You don't start until we hit 4 lands. And because of that, I would take the weakest things in this O-Tag category, and they immediately can get turned into Ren's Resolve, which is going to be, and I'm specifically recommending this instead of Thrill of Possibility because I know it's going to punish you, and that's going to make you a better person. All right? And it's going to make you better. You're going to exile away 2 things that cost 8 fucking mana, and you're going to be like, that's not fair. And after it happens for the 10th time, you're going to go, maybe I'm the problem. And then she's going to come back. Okay? Okay? And so I would look for things like Ren's Resolve, the usual suspects, like Wild Wasteland. Or you can go for the black staples like Read the Bones, Phyrexian Arena, etc., etc. But you are really, really, when it comes to your ability to play the game, going, damn, I hope this shit works out. And everybody does that for 1 or 2 turns. You are running on, damn, I hope this shit work out for 5 turns in a row until you can start cooking. And I think once you start cooking, I believe that you cook. I think your token game rivals a Selesnya player, but I'm fine with it because your tokens are bitching and theirs don't have motion. Yours statistically have motion. Yours all know Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. But in this hand, we have a million things that... we have a million synergy pieces. I'm going to pretend this one's Ren's Resolve. I cast Ren's Resolve. We've hit our land drops. Now we hit another land drop. And now we're fucking set as hell. And we aren't going to end up ever needing this Heat Shimmer because we already have Heat Mirage, Mimic Vat, Flame Shadow Conjuring, and Ortheon. I think every playtest you ever do with this deck, you can find at least one card that would have felt better to selectively replace with Read the Bones, Ren's Resolve, Phyrexian Arena, Wild Wasteland, any of it. Yes, I would say more card draw, but specifically, like, you don't have to go more card draw, but this deck is every child's first mouse. It's their first time owning mice. And you try to let the male and female mice live in the same cage, and then they mate, and you suddenly have 30 little mouselets, and you have to kill them all in one blood-fueled weekend so your mom doesn't find out that they got shit everywhere. And you need to be eating your vegetables. And so whether you replace it with card draw to get lands, or whether you replace it with interaction to slow your opponents down, you currently have so many synergy pieces that it's diluting the quality of your synergy. You have a bunch of 10 out of 10s, and then because you went, I'm going to put in every fucking O-tag, you have a bunch of 4 out of 10s too. And I'm suggesting, I think card draw is the best option, but whatever you replace the 4 out of 10s with, you should replace them with something that helps the decks consistency or protection, yada, yada, yada. Oh, and then you're also going to put Prosper Tonebound in because that's my guy. Because that's my guy. Simple as. That's my guy. Holy shit, you have Thrill of Possibility. I'm so proud of you. See, like, we don't need all this. We don't need all this. Oh, we would have drawn. I just discarded a card and told you to go fuck yourself. Like, when we hit our land drops, this shit feels awesome. When we hit our land drops, oh my god. Oh my god. Land drops, mana rocks is all great. And if we aren't hitting these, it is just cope and seethe for a million turns. And now that I'm trying to get a clean cut for YouTube, of course the deck's curve is going to work out. But you're cheating and you know it. You can't look at this statistically. Statistically, God's going to get you. All right? How do you feel about the cards in Considering? Let me look. Let's also look for Beely V or Znifert, if either of you are here to get your roast done. That's a lot. Commander Sphere. Yeah, I think Minion Reflector comes in as like a 4 out of 10. Mithril Coat is an example of a vegetable you can add in. It's a little tough because people are probably going to shoot Master when you play him. And to protect Master the turn you play him, you need 9 mana. But if you think you can mind control the table into waiting a turn, I think this is another thing that would be better than one of the 4 out of 10 synergies. I'm not confident. I'm not super confident in the medallions, but I don't hate them. I do like Grim Hireling. I do like Atali Primal Storm just because she's so silly. Don't like Eomer. I love Bloodthirster if you want to win the game through all of your opponents killing themselves rather than track the board state. Sturch Long, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the Doghouse, my friend. This is a trap, 100%. This is a Death Star Lego set that's going to take you 3 years and all of your social relationships to finish building. Don't like Rakdos. Rakshasa Debaser, Metacall. Total Metacall on if you have overly indulgent self-mill players at your table. Ravenous Chupacabra, also a Metacall. I think this deck, you would rather be the problem than be the guy who's trying to myriad interaction to slow down the problems. Just be the bad guy. You're already playing the villain. Just be the villain. Just kill everybody instead of the creatures. Don't think you're filling your graveyard enough for Sauron. I want you to keep your teeth, so I can't in good faith recommend this. This would be very powerful. They're going to hate you, but this would be very powerful. I think you could find room for that over like Riona. You're really not spell slinging. Or if you say you are, I believe you. I don't argue with liars. But Terror of the Peaks would definitely be strong. Aggravated Assault is a maybe. Black Market Connections, undeniably good. Just depends on how much you like staples. I think Splinter Twin goes infinite with a ham sandwich, so also up to you. Probably could find a way to make it strong. I don't like Echoing Assault only because it says non-token, and I think your original commander is getting goofed pretty quickly. Anything in the removal section, this could go in over one of those 4 out of 10 things. Yes to Arena of Glory. God, this is a fucking cheater land, and I'm just happy that red finally got some instead of green. Toxic Deluge could also be fine. So yeah, thank you for sending in the deck. Kai Worlds, Fred the Badger, and Iron Blood, thank you for the Twitch follows. Welcome to the Doghouse, my friends. The land that was good was Arena of Glory, which lets you give a creature haste. So for something like Master Multiplied, that will bring everything together really quickly for you. So let's bring it on down to Znifert. In spite of all the shitty, in spite of all the shit posty, not shitty, allegedly, meme decks I've submitted, this one is an actual genuine commander deck that I have in play. And it's really just a Yuriko Ninja Typal deck. The current version I have already has issues that this version of the list is attempting to mitigate, but obviously I'd like other opinions. The cards that I don't already own make up around 350 of this deck's price, and I've got about a total budget of 400 for changes, both in terms of swapping out my plan changes and replacing cards I do already own for other things. General plan is to manipulate the top of the deck in some way to get whatever I want there, and then run ninjas into people's faces and touching a bunch of cards because of it. Okay. $1,300. Hot dog. That's a sick art, though. First and foremost, I would get the new Kaido in here, especially if you're going to be on Ninja Typal. You got 23 of them. Get my guy out. Bane of Nightmares. Get my mans. Is a ninja, will trigger Yuriko. I'm sure you just hadn't seen the gentleman yet or haven't opened him up yet. Or he costs $1 million. But he's very useful for you here. We have Demonic Tutor, Personal Tutor, Psych Rift, Rollick. So to me, this looks like we are playing... This looks like we're playing CEDH, but we forgot to win. Damn, that Necropotence art's... I cannot speak. If I speak, I will be punished. If I say how I feel about this Necropotence art, I will be punished. If I say how I feel about the Polluted Bonds art, I will be punished, chat. So we have Temporal Trespass for extra turns. I think let's look at the curve. I don't like that. It's too responsible for what Yuriko wants to do. We have the One Ring. Yeah, so this really seems like... I want to pull up a CEDH Yuriko list to see how different this is from what they're trying to do. Yeah, that's more of what I'm expecting. I cannot say what I think or I will be punished. So they're on some type of Thoracle combo, right? Where's the guy? Yeah, so they're on Decon Thoracle to win the game. I think the first thing to do is pick whether your lane is Ninja Kindred or whether your lane is Yuriko deck that has a lot of ninjas but wants to ultimately murder you. Because if you want to do a Yuriko deck that is effective, it still needs ninjas, but the way this curve should look is you want a ton of stuff on turn 1 or turn 2 that you can play with evasion. and then you're going to ninjutsu Yuriko out. You're happy with a little bit of stuff in the 2 and 3 range that is your interaction and top deck tutors and top deck manipulation. And then you want a fucking chasm. You want nothing. And then you want to build the Empire State Building. You want to build the tallest building in America over here to hit people with Emrakul triggers, to hit them with Blinkmoth Nexus, to hit them with Temporal Trespass, because this shit is 11 mana. Oh yeah, where is Mr. Malfoy? Come on down. Where the fuck is Draco? And I realize you're going for, oh, I want to get a ton of triggers and I want to draw a lot of cards, but in terms of closing out the game, you need these Yuriko triggers to matter. And right now, I think the Yuriko triggers don't matter very much because you're trying so hard to get so many ninjas in here that, like the previous deck, we're diluting the quality of the gimmick in order to stunt about how much gimmick we have. And you can do that for just straight up Ninja Kindred. But I think if we're doing Ninja Kindred, the deck can power down a little bit with all this other fuck shit about Demonic Tutor, Personal Tutor, Psych Rift, bunch of free interaction, Limb Duels, Vault. Like, all of our support pieces are going really fucking hard for a main gimmick that's not going, that's just kind of like pile of triggers. And I think you will have a more enjoyable time and a less varied time if you, well, cut Soul Ring, because right now it's making the hand unplayable. Okay, so if you want to do Ninja Kindred, what I would do is you still keep the really expensive stuff. I'm not convinced you need like Psych Rift, Deadly Rollick. I'm not just convinced you need the tutors. And I'm also not convinced you need the top deck manipulation. I know it's really good for Yuriko, but if you want to be like Yuriko leads a bunch of ninjas and then leaves it in God's hands, that can work. And then we can just focus on getting some things that will give your ninjas additional evasion. I think there's better versions of this effect. Oh, the rooms are an incredible shout from Gigi Anubis because their mana cost is the combined thing. So their mana cost is the combined thing, but they're probably going to be usable. Oh my god, like this room? When you get Fractured Realm for all your ninjas, that's going to be horrific, and it's a massive Yuriko trigger. Bottomless Pool and Locker Room also is very good. Gets a blocker out of the way for you. Gives you a card draw trigger on attack. Cover of Darkness is what I was looking for, Cyborg. Thank you. Yeah, Fractured Realm would just do it. This is the ninja... I don't even want to say Kindred because it's like a job, not a creature type. This is the convention deck WinCon. This is the 2024 Ninja Convention, the deck WinCon. Rather than the internet told me a bunch of these were super fucking good, so I put them all in. Oh fuck. Oh shit, oh fuck. And then you also want stuff like this is what I was looking for. So your ninjas have fear, makes them much harder to block. confirms you get your triggers down. I think change of plans would be really hot for you for board protection. This would cost very little. You might have a lot of ninjas that die and you can't protect all of them, but this would protect the really important ones, and the conniving would be pretty helpful for you. But this is the type of stuff I would look for. I think rooms are going to be great. We're going to glaze March of Swirling Mists a little bit. Because you're hopefully going to have a lot of card draw, and phasing out is really how you're going to keep your deck relevant when people try to board wipe you into the fucking Stone Age. But yeah, right now this is holy shit, ninjas are cool. Also, I would really like to cheat at Magic. And I think you can have one of each. I think you can have a Yuriko deck that just cheats at Magic, and you can have a Yuriko deck that is just, holy fuck, ninjas are cool. Anyway, I'm going to kick you in the face now. But yeah, we want to go... Oh, what's up, Offbeat? We want to go like turn 1, evasive creature. Turn 2, Yuriko. A little bit of interaction. Nothing. Extended edition Lord of the Rings, if we're being competitive. And if we're doing this mid-power stuff, then we don't want to worry about all these tutors. If we have this like actual curve, we're really trying to play a number of ninjas, and we're trying to get there through fair combat damage. We want to get some phase out for protection. We want to get these rooms up in here. Ninjas run through hallways. It's thematic. And that's how we should run it. But I don't see Hat Matter. Thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. Let me look at Dowsing Dagger. Yeah, Dowsing Dagger's hot for you. Here's your Jeweled Lotus. Here's your Jeweled Lotus, my friend. Nanogene Conversion. This would be like Metal Gear Solid ninjas with like nanobots and shit. But yeah, you could do this. Dragodal, thank you for the Twitch follow. Welcome to the doghouse, my friend. So that's going to be it for tonight. We need to reschedule BLEV, but everybody else, thank you for coming by the stream. I hope you enjoyed the roasts. We're going to find somebody to raid. And I think I can hear my girlfriend still streaming. The raid message this time is going to be "Father is in residence," because Z should theoretically know what this means. So everyone, thank you for the follows, the subs, the donations, all of your support. I appreciate it all very much. I hope you're having a good week. Remember to stay toxic. We'll be live again Friday. I see you then.